Welcome to this episode of our book read through of Elon Musk, Woke Messiah by LBN. We left off on this page. Did we leave off on this page? Yes. Bertrand Russell quote that reads, "Machines have altered our way of life, but not our instincts. Consequently, there is maladjustment." Yeah, I think that's interesting. We've evolved without machines and not for a world with machines. So now that they've come up and evolved and, increased and become such a big part of our life, how do we adjust to that? I think we're used to evolving slowly throughout time, but it's almost forcing us to evolve more quickly. But how well are we capable of doing that, maybe? Then we have the LBM blurb from 2079 that reads, "My aged memories are not distinct as I look back. I do not remember conversations. I do not remember words. I simply remember people and places, destinations and faces, random details and vague feelings, a dream of past days. It is all my feeble mind can remember and retain. I pity those with perfect memories who recall every moment, the clutter their minds must deal with, the chaotic organization. To forget, I feel, is terribly underrated. It simplifies life. You let go of the good, but also the bad. Perhaps we should embrace the present. Perhaps that is divine." And then in bold it says, "My aged memories are simply random details and vague feelings." Yeah, and that might be a personal thing. I think some people remember differently than others. Some people probably remember better, more specifically. But I think a lot of us, they're not distinct, for sure. And then what do we base off of that? What do we learn from that? Then we said, "Hey Elon, what do you wish you could tell your 20-year-old self?" Yes. What advice would he have for his younger self? That would be interesting. And then how would that change that 20-year-old self? Maybe it's better you didn't tell him anything. And then in parentheses it says, "Invest heavily in Bitcoin." That would definitely give him more resources. Next page, we have a heading that says, "Hey Elon, since you have acquired massive resources and influence, has that affected your goals, motivations, or what you find important in life?" Yeah, so how does that change your perspective? And then how does that change how you want to proceed? Not that his beliefs or his moral or anything like that's changed, but the fact that you can do more, or that you know more, or that you know how things work a little bit more, how does that change the path you're on? Or maybe it doesn't at all. It'll be interesting. Then we have the LBM blurb from 2073 that reads, "Older people know things younger people only have faith in. Young people know things older people have long since forgotten. Today people know things past people only had faith in. Past people know things present people have long since forgotten. Future people will know things we cannot ever know. Things people today only have faith in, only dream of. We know things today, things we know without a doubt, things future people will have long since forgotten or discarded." And in bold it says, "Past people know things present people have long since forgotten. Future people will know things we cannot ever know." Yeah, so like lost knowledge, this old time thing, kind of makes you think about like forgotten knowledge throughout the ages, not like forgotten civilizations. How many of those is there no record of, and what kind of knowledge was lost with them? But yeah, we learn and forget within our lifetimes, and then as a society, you learn and forget throughout the generations. Interesting. Then we have a Bertrand Russell quote that reads, "None of our beliefs are quite true. All have at least a penumbra of vagueness and error." Yeah, and he's just reiterating, you don't know it all. Next page. Bertrand Russell quote reads, "Education is not to be viewed as something like filling a vessel with water, but rather assisting a flower to grow in its own way." Yeah, so teach the student how to learn and how to teach themselves and how to explore, and kind of guide them, and not learn this, repeat this. I think we can all agree with that. And the fact that the situation is still that way in a lot of respects is a little sad. We have the LBM blurb from 2079, and it reads, "There is a single all-encompassing truth, a perfect truth we cannot possibly comprehend or understand. The slightest ignorance carelessly shatters this perfect truth beyond recognition. Obvious what our supreme ignorance does to this perfect truth. We are left with imperfect illusions, reality skewed by perspective. The illusions of freedom, control, and hope all veil truth. The illusion of change, and thus time, a prehistoric device. Horrible to have such an unreachable truth, an unrealistic goal. Sentenced to spend our insignificant lives striving for impossible greatness, a greatness we can only ever achieve with dumb luck." And in parentheses it says, "What a Debbie Downer." And in bold it says, "Sentenced to spend our insignificant lives striving for impossible greatness." Yeah. I don't know. And I don't know if that binaural intelligence, that BI, how much would that change Elon, the way he's able to communicate and access information? This doesn't seem, a lot of these blurbs don't seem like what he puts out publicly, because he seems really good at focusing on what knowledge he can obtain and maximizing that. It seems like a much more positive spin on that's fine. You can know, you never know, you're never gonna know everything, but that shouldn't stop you from doing everything you can with what you do know. Then we have a positive word, explore. Explore. I like that one, explore. I like a lot of those words. You have to go back and make a list of them. Let's see. Then we have a heading that says, "Hey Elon, do you dream when you sleep? What do you make of dreams or nightmares?" So there's that blurb. About a third of our lives are, although maybe a little bit less for Elon, he probably doesn't sleep as much, but how much that affects our of the time that we're awake and vice versa. And then so I think we're learning more about our brain activity when we sleep, but probably still a ton to go till we have a really good grasp on it. Be interesting to hear Elon's take, and if Neuralink, what does that? Is there any relation? Does it have any? What does that do when you sleep? Does that affect that? Can it help you sleep better? Can you implant dreams? That'd be kind of cool. Can you implant thoughts? That'd be kind of scary. What is the purpose of life? This is the LBM blurb from 2079. Where are we going? This question is fundamentally flawed. This question is imperfectly posed. It assumes life has a purpose. It ignores the contrary. It assumes we have the freedom to pursue this purpose. It assumes we have control of our delicate lives. It assumes we have hope, a hope for something better. Yet this is invariably our first question, our primary wonder. We do not need an answer to this fallible question. We need a different question, a more noble question, different questions and different ways to look at these questions. And then in bold it says, is the purpose of life a fallible question? That's fair. It feels like we've read this before. And is it the same for everybody? Yeah, so we need a different question, but what is that different question? And go on and on. We have a Bertrand Russell quote that reads, as soon as we abandon our reason and are content to rely on authority, there is no end to our troubles. Yeah, this feels like a government thing. Giving them the power and authority to choose for us, kind of relinquishing our freedom and control and trusting them to do the right thing. Seems like the chance of that happening is not high. And that is where we'll end this episode. Join us for the next episode. And until then, have a great day.